All right, my friends, we have the Onkyo TX-RZ70 11.2 channel AV receiver, an unboxed overview video. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hey folks, I'm Gene Delasella with Audioholics. I am very happy to have a flagship Onkyo receiver back on my test bench. It's been a while. I've been a fan of Onkyo for decades. I've always enjoyed their flagship products. I'm talking back in the days when we had the legendary 919 THX AVR. Those things were beasts, and Onkyo makes no exception in this AVR. It's about $2,800 retail, so in its price category, it's the heaviest AVR on the market. This thing weighs about 50 pounds. It was fun carrying this up a flight of steps into my office here. Let me tell you guys something. This thing is packed with lots of features. It's 140 watts a channel times 11. That's a 2-channel rating, but I have high hopes for the power of this just by what I'm looking at on the insides of this unit. It's got a very large power supply, linear power supply, 4 sets of heat sinks, so there's plenty of cooling for the heat sinks for the output devices of this unit, all discrete amplification. And if you look at the back panel, it shows that it could consume up to like 1100 watts. That gives me hope that the AVR has a really good power supply, and we're going to see some good numbers on the test bench. And that's what I'm going to be doing in the next video. I'm going to be doing exhaustive bench test results on this AVR. This is a no fluff coverage you're going to be getting of this product. So let me tell you some of the awesome features that really differentiate this Onkyo receiver from many of its competitors at this price class. So number one, you've got 11 channels of amplification and processing. You've got 2 independent subwoofer outputs. It comes standard with Dirac Live, and you can upgrade. There's an upgrade now to Dirac Live Bass Control. Auro 3D is on its way as well for an upgrade. You've got DTS-X, you've got, of course, Dolby Atmos, IMAX Enhanced. On the back of this unit, there's 7 8K HDMI inputs. On the front panel, there's 1 4K HDMI input. Now, most of the AVRs in this price class will give you an extra HDMI on the back, but not one on the front, and then all of them would be 8K. Personally, I like the compromise Onkyo made here. I like to have an HDMI input on the front in case you want to plug in a quick HDMI source or a camcorder or whatever. But just realize you can't get 8K from the front input because the traces are longer. That's the compromise that they chose to make, which I think was a good call on their part. I really appreciate that. This unit has a couple of legacy inputs that most AVRs have dropped. It has 1 component and a couple of composite inputs. So if you have a Nintendo Wii, you can plug it directly into this unit without having to buy a device converter through Amazon like I had to do on my Marantz AV10. But this is chock full of streaming capability. You've got Apple AirPlay, you've got Chromecast, you've got Bluetooth, you could do Tidal, Deezer, whatever, you name it, you could stream to this device. And that's one thing that I've noticed about the Onkyo and the Integra receivers of modern times is they just pack every feature you can imagine into this unit. And I'm excited to be doing a full exhaustive bench test. We're going to be doing a separate written review. We're going to give you results on how it integrates into a multi-channel speaker system and how the Dirac capability works on this unit as well. Now, there's a couple of competitors to consider. At around this price point, there's really nothing right at $2,800, but the closest competitors to give you 11 channels of amplification would be the Denon AVR 6800H. The Denon's about $3,500. It does give you 4 independent subwoofer outputs instead of 2 like this one, and you get 2 extra channels of processing. So if you want to go beyond the 11-channel barrier, you're going to have to step up to a Denon or to a Marantz or to some of the other brands that give you 13 channels and above processing, even an Anthem. Then the next competitor would be the Yamaha RX-8A. That's around $3,000, 11 channels of amplification, 11 channels of processing, 2 subwoofer outputs on that, and it's a little bit more powerful. 150 watts is the rating on the Yamaha. Yamaha does not give you direct. They have their own YPOW system, but they do give you manual PEQ, which is very useful for people that like to do manual, old school kind of dial-in calibration. So the last feature I want to discuss with you guys, since Onkyo is now part of the Klipsch family, if you've got modern Klipsch speakers, this has a circuit in it to optimize the crossover points for your speakers, and you just tell it what Klipsch speakers you have and it'll do that bass management for you. That's kind of a cool feature that it has. It's got the standard on-screen display, the GUI interfaces like you see with some of its competitors. It also has a web interface. I don't know how accessible that is for consumers, but we'll be taking a look at that as well and see how that compares to what Marantz offers and what Yamaha offers as well. So guys, if you like this video, please hit the thumb up, hit subscribe. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Audioholics. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to me if you want to suggest video topics. And until next time, my friends, keep listening. So I want to show you what's inside the box and also go over some of the features. But when we open this thing up, let's see what's included here. So the first thing is you get this box that says Onkyo on it. And when we peer inside, you've got your standard remote control, detached power cord. This was a fun product to carry up the flight of steps. Let me tell you guys something. I like when you get a nice heavy AVR. Yeah. 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 Whoa. Whoa. So here we are. This thing is a beast. It's got a nice metal faceplate on the front, big volume control on the front like Onkyo always has. And it feels really high quality. So some of the AVRs that are coming out now, when you go and you move the volume control, they don't have a bearing-based volume control. They just make a mechanical noise and they're just not very fine. This one feels pretty good. Nice faceplate on it, very thick aluminum here. Looks great. So this looks really cool. We are going to be doing full bench test results on this. The last time I checked an Integra receiver, it was a lower model than this. It was from the Integra line. The preamp outputs on that were excellent, but the ability for driving 4 ohms on that receiver wasn't its forte, and they put a lot of nanny circuits in it, so it would just trip into low current mode on my test bench. So I'm hoping this Onkyo doesn't do that. I'm going to be doing an exhaustive bench test to give you guys the scoop on how this performs, but for what I've seen in the hardware here, it looks very promising. And I want to see.